Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're going to talk about Nobel Prizes of 2024. So let's dive deep into it. So first, the controversial one, the physics one. Basically, this puppy was given to John Hopfield, who was born in 15 July 1933. Yes, this is a very old gentleman. His work started in 1982, basically the published paper. And yes, he was 50 years old. Sometimes things takes time. And Geoffrey Hinston, he was 6 December 1947, bit younger, and his work started on that same paper in 1985, so to say. So he was 38 years old. So basically, what did they do? Well, they figured out the foundational mathematics of human brain, for lack of a better term. So you have to understand how our brains have its neurons and synaptics and all that. But here's the, how would you describe it mathematically? Like we can describe motion of the planet using equation, right? How would you describe this puppy? They figured it out. They literally figured out what this is in a mathematical term. So benefit of that is on principle. When they, because remember, we are talking about 1980s, electronics did not exist as they exist right now. So how the heck they thought of it? They did the math. They did not do it in computer because computer did not existed. And when they were this early on, they were like so ahead of time. They never thought that it could actually, they knew that they could do it. Math is there. It's just that computer will ever catch up this quickly. And this finally solved one of the mysteries I had, is that TV show Star Trek Discovery. It was Star Trek The New Generation. It was a very old TV show. It was shot in film, and it was like, there is an android in that. That android always talks about neural network. And I always find this fascinating. How the heck you know about neural network back in those days? Oh, back in those days was still like years after 1982. So mathematics were very clear. Like many times people say, like math is laid out long ago. That's the whole point of it. So foundational mathematical framework of how would a neural network work, how would you do this part mathematically is sorted. Basically think in this way. You do a handwriting recognition. How the heck that works? Because yes, you draw a J, right? You slice that image up, feed it into algorithm. Algorithm will always get a jagged data, right? How the heck that becomes this? Well, this is the probabilistic curve of it. Memory stored in it. You refine this, what you call energy level mathematics, so to say. And this terrain map, so to say, is the memory. It learns, improves, and over time is like, okay, you are drawing this 99% chance you are meaning to stay J. I'm like, die. So mathematically, they laid the foundation on what we consider ChatGPT today. So they did that. And yes, there was nothing interesting happening in physics. So they're like, okay, might as well give them. And yes, it did took them quite some time, but they reached it. So this is the first prize. Then we have chemistry. Now, chemistry is John M. Jumper. Nobody knows his birth date, in 1985. And he basically, there are three people majorly. And for protein structure prediction, you have to understand, whenever we are talking about life, we are not talking about magic. We are talking about a real thing that exists. So, okay, so let's go down. So at the lowest level, what we are made out of? We are made out of atoms. Physicists got that. They are sorted. Like, how does atom work? How does atom bond? We good. But yes, there's a layer above it. In that above layer, basically layers, once you cross the molecule, once you start a molecular chain, that is the chemistry layer. Now, we are made out of hyper complex, ludicrously hululu molecular chains known as proteins. So how is protein made? Protein is made by amino acids. How is amino acid folded? Yeah, we do not know. Like, again, this is the, if you ever wondered what the heck biochemists do, this is what they do. Like, we know for a fact what is atoms. We know for a fact what is each molecules. We even can reach to a compound level point where it's like, oh, glycerin works in this way, tyrosine works in this way, galactic acid works in this way. So we figure these things out. How the heck this goes into from stuff to protein? How the heck that happened? This, what? So this is the most complex part for humanity, and I'm reasonably sure if you were active during pandemic era, you must have heard of please donate your computation for protein folding. This is the most complex part of it. If we, humanity as a whole, can figure out like how every single protein in humanity folds properly, we good. We sort of like, can't we use electron microscope to see it? Yeah, no. We tried, but no. So it's very complex. So actual prediction, no, we are saying this protein is exactly this way on a molecular level, because that's how chemistry works. So how do you think we can figure out which medicine will work? We have to figure out it will work in chemistry level. How would you figure it out? You have to figure out how the proteins will react. Cell wall is not a cell wall. to chemist people. Chemist people is like, okay, these are the molecular chains here. This is how it's interacting to it. How we go through it, right? How do we go through it? Because when you hear about things like blood-brain barrier, right? There is a barrier here that makes sure majority of your things are isolated. But here's how the heck Disprin works. Like it's a medicine for headaches. How the heck that works? How the heck that goes there? Very complex engineering, chemical engineering. So this sort of things require protein understanding. Basically, everything in our body on a microscopic level is just chemistry. How the heck they physically works? How the heck is it folded in three dimension? Only then you can create the electron cloud probability. Only then you can figure out, okay, it's gonna pull these molecules like in this way, pull this way. Basically, how the heck life works on a fundamental level, this is protein. So they figured it out. And again, it's not a one thing like, oh, they are the first one to do it. It's like we had some ideas, we were working on it, and they kind of hit on a big, I would say big chapter, so to say. So like things were working, it's like, whoa, this is big. So same way, I cannot say the previous winners to be like, they invented mathematics. It's not like that. They had lots of people invented a lot of mathematics, a lot of brain researcher did a lot of early math, and then they combined all these. So same way goes here. Chemistry was already sorted. Protein was already sorted. Some proteins were already finely sorted. So they are like, okay, what if we expand this? Take this, da-da-da-da-da. So they did that. And the second one, Dimish, he was born in 27 July 1976, again for protein folding. Now another part that is bit controversial is David Brecker, 1962. Now why is that? Well, he is the one who figured out the computational protein design, meaning because of you must have known the human body has way too many proteins to count, way too many. It's like bonkersly a large number. How would you do that? Like you can try to crunch, it's painful, it's tedious. And again, you have to understand about bacteria and viruses because those are the primary enemies of humanity. So how would you know that? What if you built a tool that does the heavy crunching for you? Ta-da! So that's why this chemistry Nobel Prize. Now there is a biggest joke right now going on that basically physicists finally experience what chemists always experience. It's like nothing is generally done with chemistry. It's most of the time is biology. Biological is like, winning the chemistry or Nobel Prizes for long. Then we come to physiology and medicine. Now, these puppy is Victor Amos, 1 December 1953, Gary Ruben 1952. And they are the most complex thing that I've seen. Basically, you have to understand, human body is a instruction manual that is physically built. What is my instruction manual? It's in the DNA. What am I? Built DNA. So what is DNA? DNA is like this puppy. It's a freaking hard drive. Now here's the deal. How many copies of these hard drive you have in your body? Billions of them. So every cell could easily have a copy of your DNA. That means there is a mechanism for DNA to be read. We kind of knew this. Good, awesome. But here's the deal. Think about it. How the heck you know what to read? DNA is a long book. Like long. How the heck your body knows is that I'm gonna read this chapter, meaning I'm gonna transcribe this part and I'm gonna make a brain cell. I'm gonna transcribe this part and I'm gonna make muscle fiber. I'm gonna transcribe this, I'm gonna make this. How the heck that happens? Like think in this way. If you zoom down very deep into a computer processor, what you will find? You will find switches, right? It's a binary on, off. That's the language. We call that language reader ISA, instruction set architecture. That fundamentally means there must be something like that. Because again, inherently, if you zoom down too deep, you're no longer talking about biology, right? That's why we say cell is the building block of life. You do not go below that, because once you go below that, it's a mechanical system. How the heck that mechanical system is reading things? Like think about it, it's like how weird it sounds. You're telling me there is a molecular level book that has gigabytes of data and you have a system that reads it and only reads from chapter A to chapter B, while we were having hard time figuring out how to have basically tape recorders and start and stop at the exact song. That's what's happening. Tape. How the heck the song starts here, song stops here, rewind from here to here. How? On a chemical level. How? Ta-da! mRNA. Now we kind of knew this, but this gentleman kind of blow the doors off. Like this was the early interpretation of it. We were seeing it, we were trying to understand it. It's like, we have mRNA that actually reads it, and it's the limiting factor, so to say. Only read this from here to here. This is the valid data for you. Other data, do ignore it, so to say. And so they take transcription, they transition with proteins. Again, protein is magic. Then voila, you have another magic, human. Basically all the composition cells that can be done. So whole DNA and gene is like, I got you. And microRNA is like, I got you fam, only here to here. I'm the brain cell guy, only here to here. Now, does that mean in principle your other cells could grow other cells? Maybe. That's the whole point. It's like we are reaching on a very fundamental ISA level of human body. It's like, okay, that's the instruction set, man. And yes, this directly affects almost everything in humans, including diseases and birth defects and cancers. So if we can make sure we understand this properly, make sure we can figure things out, unlimited possibilities open up. Like, just understanding this properly, we can detect things before they go bad. We can sort things before they become bad. And even immortality would be like, I can see it. Because here's the deal. We know for a fact that there are species that can indefinitely recycle themselves without creating defects. How? Ta-da! Something is interesting happening in this layer. They have the DNA, same as us, but something is going on after the DNA. Basically, the ISA instruction is very robust then. Why? Again, in humans, I think it's called telomeres. In the gene code at the end, there is a buffer, what you call error code parity. So it wears down. As you age, that wears down. Why? Why it's not repaired? Data is there. Why the heck it's not repaired? What if we can figure it out? That's a like infinite possibility opens up if we understand this mechanism properly. And we are very good. The first papers were released in 1993. And you have to understand that time, because again, they were studying a worm. People were like, okay, that's cool, biologically awesome, but most likely this mechanism that they were figuring out may be only specific to worm. And again, that's a good science. You should be always cautious. But by 2003, they figured it out. Now, they directly stumbled upon the ISA of the planet, instruction set architecture of Earth's biology. So, magnificent research, so to say. So, Nobel Prize is like, damn. Now, here's the deal. The reality is, artificial intelligence played a big role in this. So, 2 Nobel Prize has direct AI influence, and you have to understand. In one of the, you have to justify the decision of why you are giving to that. They just justified it that physics already for decades. Let that be clear. For decades, not like from 2020. Decades, as in from 1990s. They have been using neural networks. Neural networks, AI as we call it. AI is like much higher level of neural network. It's like having one cell, tissue, organ, body. So AI is the body, cell is the neural network. So of course we started very early on. Again, early handwriting recognition was just that. So AI research already used in physics. So it kind of justified it. Now this shows a new understanding for common public is that AI is here, AI is real, because you have still AlphaFold 2. I talked about it. Somebody figured out what if we can feed the data of things that we have already sorted. Using that data, a computer figures out the rest. Rather than having researchers of PhD levels working their ass off, what if a computer can do that for you? Ta-da! Data entry and database search. That goes into AlphaFold. Sequence analysis of things that we have already done and let the computer crunch through it. And then we have, put the algorithms of amino acid, how the heck that works. That creates the distance map, then goes through AI analysis, neural network, mathematics is already sorted, and tada, hypothetical structures. Now you're like, okay, that's hallucination, right? You are just hypothetically creating. Not really. There is a real constraints of what you call chemistry. You can program, hey, you cannot have these two elements this close to there. They can only be this. This is the closest island. So using all of that and taking data from real world, it creates a very plausible kind of structure, and that's why it's such a big deal. And they made it, and it kind of predicted many things precisely enough, not accurately, like, but it's like, I think this is the, let's say this is the T cell structure of this virus and all that. It was very close. Scary how close it got. So that is AlphaFold 2. So at this point in time, if anybody says AI can't do it, I'm like, we are reaching a point where it's doing research that can only even be understood by PhD level people. It's like, yeah, if this at this point in time, if you are like, yeah, AI, who cares? It's like, no, you should care. Like, you really should care. And be mindful, the people who made the neural network, they are still alive, and half of them are screaming on top of their lungs. It's like, yeah, the speed the AI is growing, it's scary to say the least. Now you may ask a question. We say like, okay, AI has been used to do what exactly, right? To do what? Well, data analysis. You have to understand. We had all this data. It's just that a human mind cannot store that much data. I can give you 50,000, data analysis of, every sort of mechanism we have, spectrum graph we have, everything we have, every tool we have to study a protein. I can give you all the data. Your brain cannot store that much data. Right? I can give you 50,000 proteins spectrum analysis. Can your brain actually handle that kind of data density? No. AI, that's Tuesday for them. That's AlphaFold 2 for them. So you have to data analysis. That's a very big step. So we went from big data stage to data crunching, big data optimization. Because yes, still, how would you know what data is irrelevant? Because again, you have to keep that much in a RAM. Our brain RAM capacity is not that much. So optimization, modeling, simulation, and results are speaking for themselves. Basically, anybody who doubts AI generally doubting this puppy, neurons. Yes, let that be very clear. I'm not talking about competency of AI. It's very early stage. Like, it's, even though it has been going on for quite some time, it's early stage. It's like practically speaking younger than me. It's not even 32 years old. So ChatGPT, how old is it? 10 years, maybe? So fundamentally speaking, we've sorted the math. Math is there. It's like we are figuring things out, and it's like AI is literally this puppy. Very early stage, but this puppy. Like, now imagine in this way. What if it's just a child? What if, here's a better definition, what if it's just the early stage evolution? We are letting it evolve. It's making mistakes, exactly how evolution would. And again, many of these neural network mathematics are classified as evolutionary learning. We are literally copy pasting human evolution, and we are like, this is not AI. It's like, I'm actually worried about those people at some point. It's like, you do realize we crossed this. This is past. We crossed this. Talked about this in 1980. Nobody would have believed you. Even the people who did the mathematics, they would not have believed you. They're like, dude, you're telling me we're going to have computers that can do billions of calculation per second, per millisecond? They're like, whoa, buys me the joint mind. Happened. Past tense. And it's exactly human brain copy pasted here. The only limiting factor right now, people say, is that our brain, this structure, so to say, it's a unique kind of wetware. The hardware changes the physical geometry. It does not happen on circuitry. So there is an inherent limitation. We are trying to do everything in virtual space, but there is a limitation, like how basically MOSFET, so to say, or like actual switch, right? Actual switch has 3 pins, so to say, input, output, and control. So this has a limitation. Neuron does not have that kind of limitation. Each synaptics can talk to other things. That's why even though when we scanned our ass off with a fly brain, it's bonkersly dense. It's almost like a supercomputer. So there is certain thing to be about that, but again, I would not be counting them out, because again, we humans have another technology waiting. It's called photonics, photon based computers rather than electron based. Same thing, it's exactly same architecture, binary codes and all that. It does not even touch quantum qubits. It's just photons. And what's the benefit? Yeah, it's faster. How much faster? Yeah, gigabytes. We have gigahertz right now, gigahertz clock speed. Yeah, that will go to petahertz, exponentially faster. It can crash, recover, go to the last state before a high-speed camera could even see that happen. That's how fast it is. We are working on it. So can we have a ludicrously hyper-complex AI running on that? I could easily see it. So artificial intelligence at this point in time is here. It's real. So what is my hope out of it? Let this say, this is my hope. Like, I saw all this data, all this crunching. At this point in time, the best use of AI that I'm seeing is that it will allow us to crunch complex biology. Can we crunch biology with supercomputer? We did try that. We have been trying that. It's very wasteful. It does work, it's just wasteful. Like, we are trying every combination and then hoping something figures out. Like, AI is just taking the same horsepower and applying it more efficiently. It's like, I got you, fam. I got you. Let me guide you a bit. Let me align you a bit, and then we are sorting things out. So that's a really good approach. On top of that, what will be the benefit, right? It's like, oh, research, what's the benefit? Benefit is we are living so long that at this point in time, cancer is a normal problem to us. It's like, here's the deal, I'm not even joking. When I was a kid, watching movies and all that, cancer was always talked about. It's like, end of life. Like, you have cancer. It's like, here's the deal. I'm right. Thankfully, I live in India, a good healthcare. And yes, India has a really good healthcare. And one of my relatives had cancer. They got it treated, done, sorted, go home. Nobody even talks about it. It's boring. It's like, oh yeah, that happened. It's like, we are making good. But here's it. The reality is we are living so long. Every Tom, Dick and Harry is expected to touch 100 years or, God help you, 130 years. Is that cancer is becoming a bigger pain to us. It's no longer just like, oh, some people had to deal with cancer. No, everybody's going to deal with cancer. Again, not everybody means like every one person. It's just like probabilistically wise, more and more people are going to deal with. So we have to sort it out. It's almost like how we have to create vaccines for polios and all that. We kind of need something similar for cancer, because we are living that long that this has become the next boss battle, so to say. So in our later stage of life, which we never used to cross this much, like, yes, there were royalties and all that, but again, they were living luxurious life, healthy lives. They were not suffering that often. And again, even they might be poofed and things of that nature was happening. So We did not have real good data. It's like, how long can humans live? The answer is very long. Like at this point in time, there is a good concession with humanity is that many children who gonna live 130 years are already born. 130 is almost touch it. So, but again, what is the most problematic thing that whole Earth's medical system will have to deal with? Cancer. Why cancer? It's our own body's malfunction. It's not external. It can be triggered externally. Like let's say I bombard you with radiation. Yeah, radiation, what is doing? It's breaking the chapters, the DNA. So you can't read a corrupted chapter. So that's extreme scenario. Other things, pollution, plastics, all that jazz. It also causes the same thing. So we have to figure out a way to repair that. And again, the likelihood of we figured out that microRNA, how the heck it's interacting, again, very early stage. But again, I can see a pathway where in 5 years from now, or in 10 years from now, maybe in 20 years from now, they will like, okay, we have this tool that we can extract some of your corrupted data set. We can create a tool to counteract that data set and inject you with an antibody, and your body is like, oh, this is what I'm looking out for. And your immune system like, I got you, fam. Fires missiles at the cancer, cancer goes poof. Now, like, can that be done? Thankfully, pandemic happened. Pandemic turbocharged this research. Before this, ain't nobody gets gonna have, we're gonna have to like, ethics and all that. Pandemic happens, go. And the amount of money poured into it and the amount of result we got in that 2 years was like, damn. So I'm very optimistic. And the fact that we are understanding, it's not just like brute forcing it. You can brute force many things, but we are understanding. It's like, I see, that's what's happening. So I'm very hopeful at this point in time that I could live, hopefully, that cancer could become a minor from like, what the hell to like, it's like another cold, man. You know how it is, man. Cancer, man. It's annoying, man. I hope for that. Again, you have to understand, we have hallmarks of it, all the RNA, proteins and blah, 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 and all that, activation, triggering, all that. We have so much data set right now. It's just, we have to create a tool that is like, oh, you have cancer patient, okay, collect the data from that machine, process the data, give the current, correct protocol for it, inject the protocol, done. Protocol being mRNA. So it should be possible. At current stage, it should be possible. And we're going to try. I can guarantee you this. We're going to try. So this is a very good, and again, that's the one that they are talking about. Like many people are very skeptical. We should be, you should be, is that, that may be only specific to that worm, so to say, but it's not. So there's a really good potential now. So that's my hope. Like future, I can easily see my parents living 130 years, even more than that. Although maybe you don't want to, but that's a different thing. So this was my presentation on basically Nobel Prize of 2024. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press this twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.